Hi drawing students, so here is your lecture about color. I wanted to give you a little insight about how color works and how you can use it best with your color pencil project. So if you want some additional insight on how color affects you, there are two links here that you can click on to watch some short videos that are pretty interesting. Color has a huge impact on how we see the world and what we interpret about it. So those are interesting links to go to if you need a little more inspiration after this lecture. Some of the great artists use color in ways that make us think that paintings are actually photographs. This is a painting that shows really complex and detailed use of color. Painting, when you understand it, is just about value, right? All color is really about understanding value and light and dark, which is light and dark, and all the different subtleties of it. So what I want you to do is strive for making complex and interesting colors with your color pencil work instead of this, which is kind of making fun of the simplistic way that we use color when we're small before we understand value and how to make colors more rich. So this is more on the plane of not thinking about color and just assuming to know what all colors are instead of looking at what they truly can be. This is an example of a really nice color pencil piece where you can see in the eye, like the colors that are applied here and layered just kind of glisten and the lips look full and round. Within the color, there's also value. You can see darkness and lightness, which is really key to making it a successful piece. This is also a color pencil drawing. Color pencil, when it is really built up, can glow and look very three-dimensional, and it can fade and have mixtures that are interesting. Here are some of the technical ways that we're going to work with color. So when we practice shading, we practice controlling our pencil to go dark to light. This is really key for using your color pencil well. You don't want to have any gaps between your lines, and you want to be able to control the pressure so you can evenly lift your pencil to create a nice gradient. So the trick with color pencil, even if you only have a few colors, you can make pretty much anything you want by mixing different combinations, and the trick is changing directions and changing your pressure and building up layers. So you can see two directions used, and there's still just two layers, and there's this lightness in between. You can see like specks of the yellow coming through the green. When you do that repeatedly in different directions, you get what's called burnishing, when it's solid and it appears like almost like a waxy solid paint. So this is what we're going for in our color pencil stuff. But before we do that, I want you to think about what you know about color. Hopefully you know these answers. What two colors mixed make orange? What two colors mixed make violet or purple? What are the three primary colors? What are the three secondary colors? And what are the six tertiary or intermediate colors? If you know all these answers, great. Not everybody probably does, because the last two questions are a little bit less common knowledge. So here's what I want you to get from this. Understanding the color wheel is super important to being able to use color intelligently. The color wheel is a tool to help you understand how to mix color. So the three primary colors are red, yellow, blue, which maybe you knew, and the color wheel serves a purpose to tell us how to make certain colors. So between yellow and blue, we get green. So when you mix yellow and blue, you get green. When you mix blue and red, you get violet. And when you mix red and yellow, you get orange. Pretty simple. The secondary colors are what you get when you mix the two primaries on either side in like equal parts. So here's orange. Between yellow and blue, you get green. Between blue and red, you get violet. Now the third group I asked you about are tertiary or intermediate colors. So these are the colors that are between the primary and the secondary colors, and there are six. Now these colors have names that follow suit. Because it's between the primary and the secondary color, this color's name is red-violet. The primary name always comes first. So between blue and violet, this is called blue-violet. Between blue and green, this is called blue-green. And between yellow and green, it's yellow-green. Between yellow and orange, it's yellow-orange. And between red and orange, it's red-orange. So there's two that start with red, red-orange, red-violet. Two that start with blue, blue-violet, blue-green. Two that start with yellow, yellow-orange, yellow-green. Pretty simple. Now there are three ways that you can alter a color in any medium. Doesn't matter what it is. You can make it lighter, which is called a tint. You can make it darker, which is called a shade. And you can make it dull, which is called a tone. So our new words here are tint, shade, and tone. So you make a color lighter by adding white to it. You make a color darker by adding black to it. And you make a color dull or more gray or neutral by mixing the complement or opposite color. Now, complementary colors are directly across the wheel from each other. Some good examples with the primary and secondary colors are blue and orange, red and green, yellow and violet. If you think about it, you probably know where some of these colors are being used in different color schemes. So here's some examples of value in color. So tints, a color getting lighter by adding white. Shades, a color getting darker by adding black. And then complementary colors. When a color is pure, like directly out of your pencil or paint out of the tube, it's at its highest intensity. When it's mixed with its opposite, it becomes dull. So if you only add a little bit of the opposite color, it becomes slightly dull. If you add a lot of the opposite color, it becomes very dull. And this is true with all complements. So looking at the complements, they are across the wheel like exactly halfway. There's 12 colors in the wheel, so if this is number 6, when I get around to 12, that's its opposite. So it's not just horizontal or vertical, directly across the wheel. Now the other piece of understanding color is organizing it. You don't want to have a painting or a drawing that looks like color vomit. It's just every color that could come from your combinations in every single way. A good way to use color, especially when you're starting out, is to choose a color scheme because it'll help keep your pieces unified and looking a little bit more clear and connected. So the bottom row here are the first 3 color schemes that I'm going to talk to you about. And they are complementary, which is opposites each other. We just talked about that. A double complement, which is 2 complements side by side. And a split complement, which is a Y. It's not the complement itself, it's the 2 colors on either side of the complement. The last three color schemes are a little bit different, but also pretty simple. Analogous is any 4 colors side by side on the wheel. So if you're using 4 colors that are next to each other on the color wheel, you pretty much have a guarantee that your piece is going to be unified because all these colors are related or made with the same group. Triad, which is choosing 3 equally spaced colors. So you have to skip 3 colors in between each color you select, which is a triad. So the primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, is a triadic color scheme. So are the secondaries, orange, green, and violet. And this is showing you a tertiary color scheme. And then the last color scheme here is monochromatic. Monochromatic is 1 color that you mix with black and you mix with white and sometimes the complement to make all the colors in the painting. So these are the color schemes. Now having a color scheme does not mean you don't use any other colors. You can always mix in neutrals, white, gray, black, and brown as much as you want. They help even things up. These are some examples of analogous color schemes that some students made with colored pencil. These are some examples of complementary color schemes that students made with colored pencil. And you notice there's other colors contributing to these pieces. Warm and cool are the other categories you can put color into, and these 2 work for organizing color as well, or grouping colors when you're making something. And then here are some professional examples. So this is an analogous color scheme, so 4 colors side by side. Here's a complementary color scheme. You can see the cool blue-green and blue and orange in the foreground. These are opposites. This is a monochromatic color scheme. This is a Pablo Picasso painting that mixes blue with black, blue with white, and blue with orange, which is his complement. Here's a triadic color scheme that uses only pure yellow, red, and blue. Split complement, which is a Y. This is a shade of blue, so blue mixed with black, red orange, and yellow orange. And when you see these brownish tones, that's the result of mixing orange and blue together, so more tones. And double complement. This is a red orange and blue green and red and green combination. So there are all the different ways you can use color in color pencil and in any color medium.